Guys, please move down just a little bit. The chairs move down just. Perfect. Yep. You may begin.
Okay. Good evening, everyone. I'm going to call the meeting to order. My name is Susan Camerata. I'm the Vice Chair of the Economic Development, Land Use, Housing, and Zoning Committee. Paola Martinez, our committee chairperson, had another engagement tonight and was unable to make it. And I thank the other committee members for being here tonight. And if you could please introduce yourselves.
Michael Pimentel, committee member.
Stephanie Calzado, chair to the young adults and committee members.
Anthony Jordan, district manager to the board. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, Madam Chair. The agenda is before you. Please remember that the committee meeting is being broadcast live on our YouTube channel. Please make sure to speak clearly and concisely so that, and for the note taker and for the folks who are watching us virtually. Thank you, Madam Chair.
We have no new business tonight. We do not have any presentations. And so I will move on to the old business. So at one of our prior meetings, and we've been talking about this at several different meetings, Paola had asked us to revisit it for tonight, is that we put together some ideas and goals for our committee in both trainings, in creating a place where we can have conversation and interaction with other committees at CB1, and how do we facilitate that, and how do we work together to learn more about the community and then make really valid and I'm going to say educated decisions when we do have some presentations here. And there are things, we've talked about in the past that are an issue, like 149th Street, right, where, what originally was intended is off from it, and it still continues. We've talked about, supportive housing and different types of housing that comes into our area where we're somewhat saturated in. We've talked about even the new buildings that are coming up that are market rate buildings and don't necessarily serve the existing population of the residents in CB1. So it's something for us just to all talk about. I don't know, I want to make sure you all received the email from our chair, Paola. I can read it for the record, if that, is okay. So Paola asked us, to please ask the meeting members if they have any other ideas and how they would like to contribute with these goals. Once we have a final document, we can share it with everyone and plan next steps. So the first one is to create a space for conversation and collaboration with business development organizations in the area, such as the BID, SOBRO, and the local chambers of commerce to facilitate business operations, resources, and services for the community. And maybe here, one of the next steps we were thinking was to convene a stakeholder meeting at CB1, like bring other businesses here to, to start talking. What are their issues? Because their issues are our issues, right?
Mm-hmm,
and
definitely.
How do we make a better, safer environment for all of us?
Right.
I'll just finish reading this and then we can, go into a discussion. Provide trainings to increase members' participation and understanding of development proposals, such as Bueller and negotiation trainings. So the next step there was to schedule training with the appropriate city agencies and disseminate materials using available technology. Here are things where we have discussed in the past. When we do have presentations, people throw out things like AMI or the square footage or the FAR or what am I allowed to build, how tall, what are the income levels, things like that. So would a training to learn about that be helpful to our committee and maybe the other committees so that we understand what, because we tend to say then, repeat almost the same questions, which doesn't necessarily move the agenda, but do we really understand what those things mean? The third thing was to facilitate collaboration with other committees. So for example, Education and Public Policy Committee to work on issues that need attention or collaborate in events. Again, I think this is great. I know, like Stephanie, you're the chair of another committee. I'm sure you bring your, things from here to your committee. And I think to share those things, I think is very helpful. And, maybe foster something. I know there's obviously the general meeting, but the general meeting is hard to say, just collaborate one-on-one. And then the last thing was outreach to small business, whether we do some calls or visits or, use our meeting time to maybe instead of meeting here, maybe we go and meet at a business and, kind of contribute to that or have a dinner or, something where we're engaging with different business owners. So I'm opening it up. This was what she had written to us. And if you have any ideas.
Yeah, I love the going to different businesses and seeing exactly how can we help them, in their environment, especially with everything going on in this area, even keeping it clean. If we could probably even talk to McDonald's, for example, like talk to the management there, maybe visit them or invite them over so that maybe we could speak to them and see exactly what help do they need. Because I noticed that they don't clean their foot. Even, and I don't know why. I don't know if they're not letting their workers go outside because they're scared there's a liability, something could happen to them while they're outside McDonald's, I'm not sure. But we could definitely bring in local businesses that's around that area.
I think I think you made a very good point. I mean, it's for them to share what they're experiencing so that maybe we have,
right,
something that other resources that we could bring to them,
right,
which is, fosters that communication and collaboration.
right. And even with Starbucks, the fact that it came and left, and that was for a reason.
Where was Starbucks?
Starbucks was like right here or something, right?
Go to KFC.
And then they
Where
moved-
was it?
Oh,
They go
really?
to KFC at 100%.
Yeah, they took it out simply because of the
What the money
situation
was.
in the area. So,
I didn't know that.
that makes,
I didn't even realize that.
and a lot of people don't want to come over here because of how bad the area has gotten. I recently went to Hector's. I'm not sure if you know Hector's where he does a piercing. He's been in there forever. Like all the kids go there.
Where
It's
is
on
that?
Fordham.
Oh, on Fordham? Okay.
Everybody goes there. It's been there forever. It's a piercing spot that he charges only $20 to get piercing. So it's a great spot that he never changed the price, everything. And he's recently opening up another section in Fordham. And I was like, why you don't come to Third Avenue? And he was like, Third Avenue? All those crackheads, all those drug dealers to be in front of my store and mess up. That's the first concept that they have of bringing the establishment to this area. So that's something that we really have to change. And that's also why I feel no new businesses have came, no restaurants have came. There's clubs that came and left. I've been to one when I was a teenager. Some was inside. I think it was across the street from Marshall's around there. I used to go there and it's not there no more. So there's a lot of businesses that probably left.
But the problem is the perception is the
of-
reality.
Exactly.
I mean, I think that's goes back to the first thing that we were talking about, right? To try to have that relationship and maybe with NYPD, we've got to clean the area.
No, we do.
We really do. It's less like
When you say clean up, are you referring to literal?
really
trash.
with
We could start
trash.
off
And
with
you
the
can
trash.
start off with just simply that. Or
There's a-
just find, where I know where they said that Roberto Clemente, that park
a
area.
a tower.
I mean, that was not intended to be that way.
Right.
And how did it get, I'm not blaming anybody, but how did it
Is
get
there
that way?
opioid centers in that area?
There should be.
I
I mean,
think-
they're all over the place here.
Right.
But
But no,
especially
I
in
haven't
that
been
area.
to Roberto Clemente. That's not for a little while.
But
But
from
even
what I've seen is the what you call it, the people that sell. They come from
everywhere.
the southern part, right, or whatever, fine, from everywhere, and they congregate there to sell to every. That's like the spot where they sell at. That's their spot.
Careful.
So yeah. But I mean, it's what we see. I mean, you could just go out
Right,
there
right.
and see it.
No, yeah.
I'm not, speaking out of turn, but the fact is that there are so many of these, what do you call them? The clinics.
Yeah, oh, yeah, like
methadone clinics.
methadone and, right.
There's so many of them that, that is the best place because it's kind of low key. If you're, I'm talking about in the back. Because
Are
in
there
the
lights,
front,
lights or something?
it's just like a type of dead end street because Willis and the only buses go
Yeah,
there.
go over there.
So there's not that much traffic back there. People know to stay away from there. So it's kind of ideal for whatever it is that they want to do.
But it keeps legitimate people
from
going, right? Because you're afraid.
You're afraid. I
Right,
can't
I
even
mean-
park in dark areas. I've eliminated about 5 blocks already in my neighborhood just to not park because it's so dark and
Well,
because they get into that.
I'll say this in regards to business. There's a discount store there, Willis Discount. Been there for years.
Okay,
I try to support that business because I like what they have.
Okay.
And they have good prices. But sometimes I'm walking through there, I'm like, I think twice about even going because of the garbage, the people that are strung out, and then that element that's back because that particular discount store is in the back of where the park is at. So it's like it's not an ideal place to shop, because of those things. I still try to go because it's a local business, and like I said, I like what they have. But I don't want to have to think twice about going there because I'm gonna run into something that I don't want to see, or you just never know. So I think that those are the things that we should address. My idea would be have first we should identify specifically what the business improvement district is, which businesses fall within the district, create some sort of survey, very simple, nothing too crazy, hand it out or go personally door to door and ask, listen, this is what we're doing. We want to know what ideas you got or what you're experiencing. And not even say what ideas you have, just what you're experiencing. And
And based on the survey, we could have them come to the table and maybe we could come
but
up with
isn't that what the bid should be doing?
So, right, I was gonna.
Oh, you were gonna
add-
say it.
add
Sorry, go
something.
ahead.
So thank you, Chair. So I think that a couple of things. What's important about this committee, and I think what we're supposed to try to get is also it helps to give the team and the office priorities when we have district service cabinet meetings on the second Tuesday of each month about what these agencies should be looking at. Because remember, the community board boundaries is larger than the bid
Yes.
boundaries. So there's only one bid, but there's multiple commercial districts or commercial paths in our district. We have 138th bid and between Wallace and St. Anne's.
Right.
We have 149th Street that is not part of the bid because the bid only actually runs from 149th to like 152nd or 153rd.
Well, along
On
the
the-
avenue.
on
Oh, long
Longford
term.
Avenue.
Oh, that's the part? Oh, I
That's
didn't
the
realize.
board. Is so
I
yeah.
thought it went down
That's
further.
I think the low is 156. So it goes in that point. There is conversations about a lot of things to do with the bid. There's multiple attempts to try to do a revise or look at an assessment again remember assessments are tax deductions for to that gets given for the funding of the bid, but it is still taxes that goes for the funding for the bid. It still goes to the tenant, the business that's there that has to pay those higher rents in order to support the services the business must provide, security, cleaning, and other services to help mitigate the needs for the bid. The bid right now currently sits on on the district service cabinet meetings, and we sit on their board. We constantly are in conversations, as you know. There has been a lot of this for the Third Avenue bid, multiple walkthroughs with elected officials and bid senior folks about sanitation to safety to the harm reduction piece. What's important about this committee too, and what we're talking about too, is that we may also, to help stimulate the need of the mission of this committee, economic development, have to push our other committees to be able to help have conversations about it. We already done that when we talked about needle exchange, harm reduction, and health and human services. There are other things that you guys are doing as part of economic development, the job fair, which is like workforce development. So your committee is doing, soon will be sponsoring a job fair. We also should talk about not only giving ideas to the DM and the community coordinator about what to say to all these folks who sit around the table to talk about what services are missing, like the lighting, specifically
Yeah.
talking about
That's,
where the lighting is, and to capture those areas that are, as you guys work the district or encourage the other board members as they work the district, what are some of the areas that you don't feel like comfortable to be able to travel at a certain time, or because of safety, because of lighting, because of whatever? What are some of the things you want to see in the community that you don't see as far as businesses? I think that one of the members talked about not having a sit-down family
Yes.
eating establishment. So those are all economic engine driven things that you think that this community board needs in order to stimulate revenue. But I get it, first you gotta start with all the issues that are problems: the sanitation, the mental health, the drug issue, all those things that are overtaking parts of our community. So if you point out those things to us as part of this conversation, those are things that we constantly talk about. Those are things that other committees can constantly push as part of their agenda, because we all have to support each other.
Right. And it's
And
like
a way to
domino
do it.
effect as
It is.
well.
We are getting commitments now from sanitation, where they have had in some pieces 6 days a week now pick focus only in the bid area. But there have been other areas that we've learned from other board members, like you, Mr. Pretty, that has said that also has to do with the landlords. Are they being good neighbors by making sure that they are following the rules of sanitation and helping with keeping the cleanup? Because there are, I agree that if your place if the community is dirty, it messes with your mental health.
Right.
Community is
It does.
dirty,
It's foundation.
you don't want
Step
to
out every day.
walk around. If the community is not lit well, it becomes very much of
Today,
a hazard.
walking over here.
That's
It
why I
becomes-
joined my community board, because
So, I say all that to say that that seriously, I think one of the things we should do is have conversations every day with the community board members outside of this committee, saying, we need your help to help as part of our mission to identify things that impact what our mission of our committee is. So if your mission, your committee is economic development, we want to make sure that this area has places where businesses want to come, and businesses that are here are growing and are being stabilized. We want to make sure that our landlords are being good neighbors by following the rules as it relates to cleanliness of your properties, having well lit front exits for the properties. If we say, we find it, this tasteful loitering is happening outside, so we ask that maybe some lamps. So we want to pass certain, I don't want to say ordinance, but we want to encourage different city agencies to encourage our landlords to say, in our community, in certain communities, we don't allow sitting outside on the stoop. We don't allow, the entertainment should be happening in the park or in your apartment. And in front of your building, down in the corner, not barbecuing in the front. There are rules that certain blocks have that. So I think another way we can blight block associations who are established in communities that are, to get them engaged in the work of this committee. So when we see something that's working, we could likely get it to be replicated, or in a way that it makes for better communities. So for example, we know that certain buildings like Bruckner has a tenant association, block association, inviting them to participate in the meeting, talking about what they do to help make their community, if they have cleanups, if they have different activities. Those are things that I think also this committee could look at to help. So I say a bunch of things. How do we go outside ourselves? What do we always see ourselves as part of economic development and land use or zoning ordinances or rules that we have? Like, we don't want to likely approve any building in certain areas that's taller than 6 floors, or in spite of folks saying we're in a housing shortage. There are certain characteristics that we want in our community that have all those things. And it talks about cleanliness, it talks about public safety, it talks about lighting, and that's part of when I came in here setting a standard. This is something that you and I have had passionate conversations about, is because developers come in to say, well, I'm gonna build this, I'm gonna build that, and they think that that's what but their plans are all one-sided to what they're gonna do to make money. But we don't have a standard as a committee or as a board to say, these are the type of properties we like to encourage to be built. Well, all the bricks, all the buildings gotta be red brick. I don't know.
Right, yeah.
Or something, or we need, I think it's a certain something that material put in certain, flooring that reflects lighting so that it's reflected. So if you have poor lighting, so the reflection of it beams up the floor, so it lightens up the area more.
Space.
Yeah.
Right. So I'm just throwing a lot of ideas of like, what do we imagine that we want so that when people come to this committee or the HPD, they have their standards and the developer wants to make more money, and so he's going to build 1,000 units, and they're going to be this tall, this size,
And closets.
and closets and so on. I like what you pointed out. You taught me what you said, Mr. Pimentel, that 300 square footage for it was mostly
Oh, yeah.
it's mostly it's an extremely small studio. No one
Oh, yeah.
ridiculous.
The standard has gone lower.
Lower, yes, you know
Lower.
why? Because
They're
the
trying to
city,
build more.
they're trying to pack more to say that there's more housing. But the point is, the quality, and I'm not even talking about the, whether you have a granite countertop quality. Talk about quality of life.
You
Right.
got a full-size bed in your bedroom.
can't even put a
Space-wise,
queen.
like you can't even, and we talk about seniors that they need an aid eventually, right? The best way to age is in place, right? But if you need an aid, how do you get it? Where do you do that, right? So all of those things
So I'm
are.
just saying that we need to dig deeper in this and my multiple conversations to say what did we look for as standards that we're looking for everything that you can think of economic development and housing. At least those are the things we know. As we get to learn about zoning and land use, we can talk about that's a training part. But what do we want in those areas, whether they're bid represented or non-bid represented, because we're all around. Unfortunately, we find a lot of people now, and with this I've been talking a long time, it's about people usually do a lot of their shopping who live in our community, do it outside of the
Yes.
community now.
I've heard that.
Because unfortunately,
It's like,
the shopping districts that we do have are not destination quality shopping
It used to
districts.
be.
And it used to
But we
be,
wasn't.
and we had those
But we
standards,
know.
and we went to Third Avenue to go to Buster Brown,
Right,
we went to
Dr.
Third Avenue
J.
to go get Alexander's, get
Mhm.
quality clothes. A lot of that has changed because the technology has led to web-based shopping. So we're doing a lot of everything's online. People want stuff that's instantaneous, so they want to. I'm a victim
Well, we
of that.
progressed by bringing Marshalls and Burlington. That was nice.
Yeah, but is that really
Until-
progression though?
Until it started getting crazy and they started, I
Shopping
seen
thing.
people. I seen somebody come out with a whole cart before. Disgusting.
Have you guys seen pictures of
I've
Third Avenue
seen-
back in the day?
I've seen
Oh, they're
I've seen
beautiful.
people
So many
put on
different-
yeah, I mean, I've
shoes.
seen them, yeah.
It's
I've
crazy.
seen people put on shoes in there and walk out in Marshalls. It's just I don't like the way now they have cops in there. Like now they have
Police,
police
actually.
in front of it as soon as you go inside. But do we want to start off with like the foundation cleanup?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a combination, right?
Mhm.
So it is, like you said, I think the cleanliness and if you're gonna have the sanitation, right? And, you go like, say in the city, they're
It's clean.
cleaning, they're, even from a building owner, they're hosing down in front of the building. I mean, we do that normally in front of our buildings too, but
But not in the hub. They don't do that in the hub.
I don't know if they do.
So maybe
Now-
that's the standard that
Yes,
we need to
that's
say. We
probably
need to
Say
say
like
that-
we
In
need,
the
but then if
survey,
you're
we can-
afraid, I mean, the fear has to be, right?
Oh, yeah.
The fear is real, right? We can't deny that part. So it's not about putting, say, more rules. I mean, and all those
I would
businesses, they
say-
want to make money too.
Right, I would
Right?
say
And-
to the business, like let's say if we would start let's say reaching out to them, the survey is really good. And then maybe we could ask them like how many times do they come out and clean the front of their establishment, because we got tickets and if you live
I
in a
know.
house, we got tickets if you don't clean the front of your house.
Yeah,
Oh, these people
So-
don't get tickets.
They
I
don't,
know
the
that's
business
what
don't get tickets if they have garbage removal?
They're supposed to.
Supposed
They're supposed to, but
So-
there's no enforcement.
There's
So-
none,
so
because
then-
it-
So that's the
because
thing we need to
it-
have. We need to,
Anecdotally, I
we
don't
can,
know.
no,
No.
we can have a conversation about that. Then you just say to me, district manager, we need to check on
Well, that's what I'm
sanitation
saying. I
enforcement.
see it.
Yeah, and sanitation
It's like
enforcement
a
to say, does
social
it have
thing.
that?
It's
And
a
this
social
body see
thing.
it.
If you allow it, and people are allowing it to happen,
There's
nobody
no,
cares.
So we need to evaluate the standard
Right?
of the commercial tenants.
Yes, we're
Yes.
just letting it happen. The same thing, if we have all the clinics, I'm not saying these people need help, right? I'm not saying that we abandon them, but they can't take over the streets.
Right.
Because then we're the people, what about the rights for everybody else?
Yeah.
And you yourself said you like to go to that store, but then there are times
Yeah. You kind
you're not walking there.
Yeah, absolutely. So I think what you said is obviously one of the goals we've spoken about multiple times, but I see that as more of a long-term goal. If we focus on the here and now, what do we want to accomplish? Like, I want to see something to happen now, something actionable that we can see like in 2 or 3 months.
Yeah.
Right,
For
which
example,
is-
cleanliness.
Yes.
I think
That
that's a
could
big
start.
deal. That can
And
start right
there's
away.
a program called Adopt a Block, like that gives you actually supplies. Like, let's say if you love a certain block and you know that it's dirty and you wanna, take charge of it, you could sign up. I was actually looking it up. You could sign up and they actually supply you with stuff to clean up that block. So that's something maybe we can look into.
Okay, but we can do that one day,
Awesome.
make a show of it, right? Because
Mhm.
that's what you have to do nowadays. But we can't do that forever.
No.
No, we could actually give that to the people who have.
Oh, to have the
businesses.
businesses
They
there.
could, if they don't have the supplies to clean up their front, they could get probably provided with it.
But
by that
I like
organization.
that idea, but I think that first is that we need to establish standard for our commercial districts to say
Right.
the community board, the committee has recommended, like we have a bill of rights of how you treat it when you're in the hospital, recommended a list of standards. Businesses should clean their front of their business twice a day, which includes hosing down the business when the water is not feasible weather. Businesses should ensure that their windows are clean for proper. Those things are standards that we set aside, and then where do we deliver those standards? Those are standards that we make very public. We share with the landlords of these in the commercials, because the landlords have to encourage the businesses to have the personnel or the team to be able to make sure this is something that's done, and that if it's not, then the business is going to suffer, because we will make it clear this like the I mean, I don't know, I'm just guessing. The public advocate does a rating of 100
Worst landlords.
Worst
landlords list, and sometimes that stings certain people, and sometimes that doesn't. On the list, nothing penalizingly happens. Then there's certain things that we just try to be communicable and say, hey, we really like you to follow this. If not, then I don't know. You guys have to all take this way out,
No.
because
Yeah, I
certain
agree with
communities have
that,
those
but I
standards.
think we can make those rules, but I think they're suffering too.
Right.
And I think we have to be able to say, but this is what we're gonna do for
I'm not
you.
saying that's the
You
first
know
thing we
what I'm
do.
saying?
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly. But
Right,
I'm
I think it has to be like,
And I was
do
gonna
you know
say
what I'm
that,
saying?
yeah.
Oh, you were?
I was
Okay, go
gonna
ahead.
say something along those lines.
Yeah.
So to play devil's advocate, it's not only the fault of businesses. So at night, I know that there are people that rummage through the trash.
Oh,
so
yeah,
if they
that's a
put
fact.
Oh,
Yeah,
and
so
I
they
think it's
create a mess.
disgusting,
Mhm.
yes.
But then that's when the sanitation comes at 5, 6 a.m. and starts.
but they don't do anything.
They
That's
don't
the
do
problem. The enforcement isn't there, so
So-
we can't let the city agencies off the hook either. We can't put
Yes.
the onus only
No,
on
I'm
businesses.
just giving an
That's
example.
what I
Also, what I
feel the same
noticed
way.
too,
So we figure out an order of
in
how
Manhattan
we
and those
do it.
places, they have
Manhattan
private
is-
organizations to clean up when
I
they're
was
not.
also gonna add that in Brooklyn,
Yeah.
I've seen that in downtown Brooklyn, and these guys wear
Brooklyn Alliance or
uniforms.
something they call it.
I don't know the
Or the
name
Dope
of it, but
Fund.
they-
Oh, like the Dauphin is great. I
They,
love
it,
their.
it's not the dope fund. It's something. It has the initials B Brooklyn, whatever
So
acronym, whatever.
Probably Alliance.
And they all wear blue, and they go around the whole day sweeping. And Fulton Street.
That's not
Yeah.
the dough? That's not the dough fund? Is that the
No.
same thing?
It's not- it's
No,
not-
no, no,
Dauphin.
Dauphin is different.
Yeah, because dope fund is the ready, willing, and able,
Yes,
right?
yeah.
It's not that.
Mhm.
But I've seen them. It's like an army of men and women that they go around and they clean and they maintain it nice and sparkly. Why can't we have something similar? Or why can't the bid? Because the bid used to do that many years back. There used to be people that walked around cleaning the garbage, one or two guys, but I used to see them. They go up and down the whole day with the pail and the
That's what you
broom.
were saying, that's part of what they have to pay,
So
right?
part of the thing that they do
There
that,
you go.
that you
Where's
talk
the
about all the time
funding?
ago. We can talk about what happens all the time ago when the cost and salary stuff was everything was much cheaper.
We don't have to go
Things-
back that far.
and
10
things,
years.
right.
10 years.
But we would say that certain things exacerbated costs. COVID gouged prices about everything as far as supplies to staffing. And I'm not saying it's impossible. And it is a priority for the bid, as I understand it, to be able to do XYZ of services. I think right now they have one person dedicated to help with cleaning the boundary. It's likely not enough. But it's together with the business. The business, you as a business owner, you have to do your part. The bids work is always supplemental. It's not the only work. It's only to come and follow up to do the extra stuff. Like, so that you will super in front of your business, but the bid will do the gutter, like that part to ensure
I get that.
Yeah.
But we don't have either of
But-
those things now.
I
That's
like
the
the
problem.
idea of the surveys as well.
I think we should do that.
I love that, and I think we can
Mhm.
do that very simple, like
together
you
with
said.
Right.
Biz or Merchants Association.
Or we don't even have to do it with the bid.
No,
Even
we
if
could
did
do
it on
that.
our own
And
and
then-
really invite them
Mhm.
who would like to come to a meeting. We're going to devote just for, and maybe we can't do all the areas, like I said, because there's all, very distinct issues in each of these different
Sure.
commercial areas, right?
Mhm.
But maybe we invite them to come and have like an open discussion. We need you to help, we need you to do this, but tell us what can we do too? And then just have it out in the open, because we've got to make a change.
Right. So what would be what are the our what's the word? Yeah, like what can we do as the board? Because I know we can't overstep our bounds, and
Sure.
there's only we have a certain amount of.
So we have,
wiggle
if
room.
I may
Yes,
share.
of course.
So we have a hella bully pulpit and a soapbox. A couple things. So Stephanie talked about how the issue is that some of these businesses feel they're spending a whole lot of money for loss prevention, and police likely does not do enforcement as much as they could, likely because loss prevention is not an arrestable offense. It's depending on a certain amount. I know that law changed a little recently, but it's all mostly here's your ticket. How many? So it's nothing that is that's
It's not
arrest enough to teeth in it to be able to arrest you. So then likely, so we have a large advocacy responsibility to be able to talk about what the laws are, how they negatively are impacting economic development in our communities. So that helps businesses be able to arrest people who are taking them away from the bottom line, because then they can't hire the staff because they're losing so much money in the back end. It also does not let them be able to sit and be that we lose a lot of other businesses like Walgreens left because they had a 1.3 million, excuse me, in loss in 1 year
At that particular
at
location.
that particular location. So they couldn't survive.
Where was that?
Into
Where was that one?
Right next door to the board office. There was a Walgreens there.
155th and
Oh,
Third
that,
Avenue.
oh, yeah, of course, I remember that. What am I
Right.
talking about?
And then
Yeah.
so a lot of them, and then like you mentioned, there is also an
Starbucks
issue
and-
around.
Yes, like even like to
Starbucks,
analyze something like that.
They
Why
couldn't,
Starbucks left?
they couldn't, right, they couldn't deal with people just sitting around chilling, wanting to use the bathroom, all that stuff. So it ends up, again, not making, they lose money because people are not gonna come in and shop when there is issues of a lot of
Quality of life.
People treat their
quality of
business
life
like their
issues.
babies. Like,
So-
that's something that, people get fined
Right.
for, people.
So the first thing, to answer your question, advocacy first to change the rules around what does not encourage economic development. That's one. Two, we have direct responsibility for overseeing and encouraging and facilitating the delivery of city services. So where city services, lighting, public safety, sanitation, whatever is health is not meeting the needs of encouraging economic development, we have a direct responsibility to changing that, influencing that, because our job is to ensure that those services, because we control all of the 40 precincts that, or we have facilitate, coordinate that, always District 1 sanitation, that's all of us, all those things, so we can directly say, these are the issues that as we know from the survey, from meeting with the businesses, and we know that it's impacting this economic development, so we can say, we need you to focus, to change the focus of those services to ensure that it allows economic development to happen.
So this survey that I mentioned,
Mhm.
it could do two things. It could actually do both of those things.
Yes,
The first thing it would do is we make a survey very nice and concise. Let's say 10 questions or whatever.
simple questions.
We get a gauge of what's happening,
Exactly.
and then we go to all city agencies, be it
I think,
sanitation.
but no, you're missing one step. She's saying, do the survey,
Bring
invite them
them
in,
in.
Bring
let them
them
be
in.
able to,
Okay, fine.
let's have like a conversation about it,
Yeah.
And then
and
go
say,
to the
these are the
agencies to
outcomes we want.
facilitate.
And
No,
then-
but that the
and-
conversation would be best for the first point you made, which would be in terms of changing certain on a more grand level, changing certain laws or influencing certain things because they have those complaints. Let's keep it to loss prevention, things like that, with all the stealing and stuff. There's a way that if you get a large number of businesses to come forward and say we have this problem, you have to start looking into this because we're losing a lot of money. But we need the numbers to do that. We can't just be one or two, little businesses. It has to be a mix of both mom and pop and the corporate businesses that we have on Third Avenue. So that's on a more grand scale, and that will be the conversation where we bring them in. And we can make an event out of that, like I said, with the media, and have that maybe influence it in that direction. But in the short term, the survey would definitely help getting the city services that they deserve to get.
If there's a immediate
And
fix, but I want to
also
add to
see-
something, why I'm sorry, the reason why the survey and then invite in for conversation, because you need to iron out
Exactly.
fine.
what you read in the survey,
Yeah.
because if you go for what your interpretation is, instead of saying, hey, according to the survey, what we understood from the survey, you guys are saying this, saying that. Is that what we all saying?
Mhm.
And somebody like us will probably say, let me
I
say,
got you.
elaborate more on that. And then that is, that you get it early on of saying that the board is not moving without other business. We're not saying that. No, we gave you the survey
Right.
and we had an in-person
I
conversation.
got you. I agree.
And then so then now we're ready to move because on that.
Let me add this so we understand the magnitude of Third Avenue. There's, I think, 470 something stations like train stations in the whole city. Third Avenue is top 100 in terms of traffic. So, and that means both people that come to shop and people that live here. So it is in our best interest, in the interest of the borough as well, to have Third Avenue be like legitimately a nice.
Zara, H&M.
Exactly.
But
It should be a
That's a
showcase.
destination.
we're not even
They
asking
call
for
it
a
the
lot.
Bronx
We just-
Broadway in the post.
Right, I mean, they did Chipotle.
I did see that. Yeah, I did see
You
that.
know, Chipotle came. That was nice. Other than McDonald's and
I think Chipotle became famous because it was new from all the stuff that was
yeah,
always
no,
there.
but if you really
I don't
think
know-
about
I
it,
don't know
every
what it
time
is
they
now.
open something new, it's always a new McDonald's. And
I
it's
kinda
like,
miss
just
the
Yeah,
old
we
Third
gotta
Avenue.
do that, yeah.
I miss
That's,
the old Third Avenue.
Yeah, no, we were younger and we thought it was something till we were older and then we realized there was nothing.
Yeah.
Because that's the same thing that happened in Southern Boulevard. Like I used to go there
Another
playfully,
spot too.
but then when I
Southern Boulevard.
realized I was going to Rainbow, I'm like, well, I'm gonna go here.
And together with that, if I could add to is that we should also invite not only the businesses, and we should invite the organizations that's supposed to be helping with economic development, Bronx Chamber
Right.
of Commerce, Sobro,
Yeah.
Bronx EDC, all these other businesses, to the organizations that's supposed to help uplift our work in a real succinct way to a larger borough-wide agenda, because we want to make sure that we have their support and that we're showing them that we are truly focusing on the reality of economic development. Third Avenue is a test case to try to turn some things around. Even though there's more commercial, because I think if we try to make some things on Third Avenue, there's going to be some more commercial districts like this. Oh, what you do at Third Avenue? Oh, we want it over here. What do
Right.
we need to do? We'll do the survey. We'll do
Yeah.
we'll do whatever. So it will help us to analyze, a bunch of stuff. I think that, and then bringing Pedro also to the table,
Yes.
because he has
Third Avenue.
the desire, the thirst, the hunger as the executive director, but to really want to do something. Yes, we do a lot of tours, but because we want to bring as much attention, and that's us being the Third Avenue and the community board, because we want to bring as much attention to a problem that has not been resolved. And we are asking for every day when those tours happen. We just don't want you to come and just tour and get
And
some
then
press
that's it,
and
and it's done.
and walked away, and you said you
You
Maybe
were
you
there,
checked
you were
off the
there,
list.
yeah, yeah, you
It's
checked the
about
box.
what are you leaving in the bucket on your way out
Right.
the door that's gonna really help to change this thing. So
Are you able to share if anything came out of that tour, the last one,
with the controller.
with Richie Torres and all these people that came?
So when we did that tour happened I think almost a year ago.
No,
coming
not
this
No,
summer.
recently.
the most recent one
The
was
one
probably
recent.
like November or October, something like
No, there
that.
was one
So
recently.
the ones that happened, as I understand, we had all of us it was the borough president, the council
Yes,
members,
yep.
multiple city
That's the one I'm
agencies,
referring to.
all that stuff. That was early, it was probably fairly warmer weather, and my understanding is that there were some resources that were put in to help drive down some of the issues. But if it's not a constant,
No, yeah, you
piece
gotta
to
be a
it,
squeaky wheel.
you gotta be doing
You
all
gotta-
the time.
yeah.
Then it's not
You
done
got
all the
to.
time. People gonna say, the party's over. Let's come back and do this.
You're
all
not
over
bothering
again.
them anymore.
Right.
What bother?
All right,
And
so how do we do that then?
What?
Bother them. Like
So
how do we have something that is consistently hitting these people up? Like, hey, listen, what's going on?
About what
About this,
what
like
we're
something
doing
what
with
we're
this
doing now.
conversation now. The
Starting
survey,
with the
Survey.
survey.
the immediate after the survey. This is the results of the survey. Let's have a
And
conversation
our
about it.
dedication to it,
To
that
it.
we're bringing it up.
'Cause
We're being proactive now,
Exactly.
right? Not waiting for somebody to come present to us about a building. Yes, they have to do that, but we want to be proactive as the land use and economic development and be out there and say, we want this change.
Right, we could do a deadline for the survey. Have
1 month. That's it.
not even a month,
Yeah,
sooner
a
than that. A week. Listen, we
Yeah.
don't need a phone to come with questions.
And we invite
I was
them.
gonna give myself
No,
some time,
we can
but
even
okay.
ask them,
Yeah.
"See,
Yeah, ladies,
you
lay
know,
down. Get out of here.
No, we need the max 2 weeks
Yeah.
to get the
Well, who's
survey.
gonna be making the questions? Like,
We could create
We have to
another
create
group
that.
chat.
We should do it. We should. This is something,
I
I
don't
think this
mind.
is where Paola wanted us to kind of go into, like,
Mhm.
we can all give questions
Right.
and narrow it down. And I agree with you. You gotta keep, KISS, keep it
And-
simple, stupid.
If we
There you
have
go.
like
Because-
real questions, and we could give different people different questions. So that way we could get more broad understanding opposed to all the same questions. Because you might have like 5 great questions. He might have 5
Oh,
great
yeah,
questions.
yeah, but we
And
need
then for
to,
like different businesses, like if we give 5 to one, we could give a different 5 to another. So that way we could understand more where everybody's going to. Does that make sense?
I don't know if you can.
So
do
give
that.
everybody-
I think you're asking for a lot more work.
At least 2 surveys.
I think you're asking for a lot more. Yeah, I think we should do the first one, because we can always do more.
Yeah, no.
Right, and I actually think the businesses would appreciate the fact that the community board and our committee
Is
are asking these
practicing.
questions so that we gain better knowledge, not just from what we hear or what we see, but understanding what their issues are, so that if we can help them, help us.
And then maybe in March, we could start doing the outreach, going to these businesses and following up with the
Yeah.
surveys, if they did it, if they didn't. Maybe we could ask them questions right there and then.
And we're having, and to add to that, Stephen and he has a strong internship team for multiple higher education institutions, colleges, and so on.
Oh,
With
perfect.
some of you staff.
That would be
We
great.
also have we're gonna have a dedicated new team member who's going to respond for primary role, will also be helping to lead our outreach efforts to go out. I mean, the district is huge, but we think we can knock it out before the summers, depending when you guys release it, at least over in about 2 weeks, be able to knock out a survey, follow up for people who have not delivered, make the survey, I think, electronically being able to
Yes, I
submit
think
it
you
so
should
that
have
people,
it.
because it automatically will populate. So Monkey Survey will tell us to Michael Primantel from Starbucks, can you answer these questions, the general manager or the owner, blah, 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 answer the key questions that will, and then Monkey Survey will also just generate graphs and automatically from answers on specific things. They could also put in word responses to say things, reading to what Stephanie's saying, and it will all give us like you said, the press. It could be a great press release. We could do in conjunction with by ourselves or with the leaders in some of these business
Yeah,
commercial
I think
district
it's a-
areas to say,
We gotta show
This
that
to
we're
say-
a team.
No, seriously.
and it says,
Yes.
because this also pushes them. I'm sorry to
No,
interrupt.
no,
Chair,
no,
it pushes to. We have a bunch of things coming up where folks are going to want to show teeth into what the community is saying. We are the work of the community board, why is it different? What's our thing? We are the biggest, even though we're small, we're the biggest organization that has the representation truly on the grassroots, on the ground to the community. So we speak totally for the community. So we have a little over 150,000 constituents, more who come to work.
Wow.
And that's people who live here, but that's people who come to work and because we had a lot of development recently. Who come to work here. We're second to Times Square as a higher transportation location, the 149th Street. So we have a lot of to say about the reality of what around all those issues. Now, and we have to now start being this survey, this work, this committee has to be the solutions to no one who's not giving us solutions. We can't wait for the city to say, oh, well, we'll study it again or we'll look at it. We need to, our survey should be able to tell folks where to go to set the standard, and that's what I'm hoping to do.
Yeah.
For us to do, sorry.
I think this was like a great start, and I think we should focus on making sure for the next meeting. I would think that surveys, by the time we all finish this, probably go out in April, and then after that, because I don't think it's going to be impossible to get, because we need to get more of a
Well,
committee.
it depends how we do that. So you're saying electronic, right? I was thinking more along the lines of going door to door and speaking to each manager of like,
You could do that too.
and try to get things,
In my
fast.
experience, and doing this when I was in my referral to the community board, it is so hard for someone who's leading a business to stop and take 5 to 20 minutes to answer your surveys or speak to you about
So, but,
something.
I mean,
Even if it's
We
business,
could
like,
give them
I
a
had to-
paper and say,
Yeah, we
hey,
could be
listen,
like, hey,
Yeah,
we
yeah,
got
yeah,
a survey,
yeah.
we're gonna
Here's a
come back
or
with
with
the
a
community
QR
board,
or
we're gonna come back,
or-
or with the QR code,
Or
whatever.
a QR code. I love the
We're
idea
gonna come
of
back.
the electronic. I'm giving them that option because it does populate it. Because even if we get the paper, somebody's going to have to input that so that we can get all that data
Story.
to get that data.
I don't mind doing that.
Yeah. The other thing we should start, thinking about are, how do we educate ourselves as committee members? Or what do you think we should be educating ourselves on, certain things like, having trainings that the city offers,
In terms of
again,
what, economic
like
development?
housing, well, for
Oh.
housing, like we were talking
changing.
about how the lottery works, what AMIs are. Do you think that might be of a benefit? There might be other trainings that perhaps.
Yeah, we can look into that so we could have a better understanding when they come to
What is it?
present.
What is it you want?
What is it that you guys think,
Like the AMI housing information in general.
But,
Because if that was the case, I
from
would've
what
got with them.
perspective, as an applicant or
Both.
as a board member, because
Well, as
They
a
would
woman,
be-
but
they
in
would be
order to
different.
give people the right information as well.
Right.
Especially since we in the youth and the young adults, we have kids that, is growing up, kids that's coming out of high school that probably looking for apartments and they want to know where, how that works. I think that's good for our committee as well.
how
That's I was just thinking, that may be a good thing just even to have, that we can sponsor like Housing Connect.
Mhm.
Like how, what goes on there,
Right.
like
How to fill out
explain it,
application.
how to fill out the application,
If
how to
you're
do it like we
eligible.
said, that's
Oh, yeah, 'cause
right.
Now,
Don't,
yeah.
telling people to be accurate in their
Mhm.
information, because
Mhm.
you could say you don't make that money, and then when it comes down to it, you could be over income, and then
Also,
you lose it.
Other locations, other places, like you said, there's other platforms that people could apply that we don't know.
Well, Housing Connect, I think the city's really pushing to do it through one. They don't want, like other
Yeah.
landlords having separate waiting lists and things like that.
If you use the city money.
If you're using the city money, right? If you're using, I think they're trying to get it so that there is that fairness, that everyone's getting like an equal chance,
Mhm.
rather than say, me, so, I'll give you my application, because I know you.
I know for a
You
fact
know?
they do that there though.
Who does that?
I've seen in Housing Connect. I've seen they went to jail for it. Some girl was selling apartments.
Oh, yeah.
Mhm.
Oh, they will. Department of Investigations is all over it.
Yeah.
We get anybody who,
But that's unfair for people who's applying now. What happened?
exactly.
Imagine if my application was one of them that they took. No.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know.
So I think we should think about I think we should have at least one training.
Yeah.
For every year, or or we think is good for our 3. You think?
Every 3 months.
Oh, every 3 months. That's
who do
what
we
I said.
invite for that though?
What do you feel like is you? Who do you?
Yeah.
Who do you?
Do you want to
what-
just
what
do it for
training
the
to learn
board?
about?
Do you want to put it out there to the community?
What do you want to learn
Well,
about?
I'll throw this out there. HPD has to come in and explain their process when they greenlight these projects, the supportive housing, things like that.
So you want,
That's-
you want a development training conversation. What's
Yeah,
the
because those are
trajectory
we get a
of
lot of
the-
those presentations, so why not?
And they're already done deals.
And they're already done there.
Okay, and so I wrote that before. You and I are on the same page
Yeah.
tonight. As of, there's this terminology called as of right. So they encourage to come in front of the community board. I will tell you, as a member of the committee, I get very frustrated that there'll be, say, a developer coming here. They can build it, whether we say yes or no. Because it's as of right. They have a right because they own the land. They can do whatever they want, right? So them coming here, it's almost like a tease because we're saying, oh, we don't like this, we don't like that, but they don't have to do anything about it.
Well, I
Could
think
there be a cap?
one of the cap. What do you mean cap?
Like, let's say if we do a supportive housing or transitional, there's a cap to how many, like,
How big?
We have
since
so
it's
many.
zoning. So if that's where it comes with the mapping, but once we see the map, let's say somebody comes in and say they wanna do this.
Oh, you
And
mean
we
a cap?
see-
Like we not allowing any more of these?
Yes.
Yeah. That's
So
But-
that's,
but-
I think that's the point of talking
of
with
having
the
standard,
city
having the
and,
standard.
well, also talking with the city because they're the ones who are allowing it to happen, right? We have to make sure that we have a very loud and unified voice that it's enough. Part of the, not to abandon these people, but we've taken on a lot in CB1. Maybe some other areas of the city need to do their part.
So, and to add what the chair is saying is that if I own this land and I own this land, as a right means I can build as many as I want or whatever I want.
Mhm.
Now, with adding to what you guys are saying is that you are telling the city that we, for each year or whatever we have, we don't support any projects that are going to be a certain, we frown upon. Let's say that a project is going to be more than supportive housing, more than 90 units. It's an example. I'm not saying that's what it is.
And that's a lot.
I press it on purpose. I know that 90 units is where you're going to experience over there.
Yeah.
But the city will say to the developer, even though the right they can build whatever they want to build here, they can build a trash station or whatever. But they will know if we as a board saying that we frown upon anything like that. That's like it would like to get the attention that the city will say that to a developer. Susan, I'm sorry, we can give you the finances because you qualify for everything else, but I'm just letting you know you're gonna have a strong opposition
At
from
the community
the
board.
board. And then therefore also with our elected officials, that's the same thing. We need who also that as you now look at there are new council members that are coming into the seat. That's likely so a lot of that is our we need to understand how how the negotiation process works, how that whole trajectory works. So you're asking for not only for the development, you want the development division or HPD to come in and tell you how the process of housing development happens, supportive or otherwise, in New York City when they add different type of financing. Is that what you're asking? Because different type of finances that you build different types of housing.
Right. I mean, we can do that, but they're gonna kill us with financial jargon and things like that, and then we're gonna go back to square one where people don't know what the hell they're saying. So.
Yeah. Well, you bring up a good point, Anthony, also on the elected officials. I mean, there's gonna be a lot of elections this year, no? So do we bring them in to all the candidates? Do we want to hear what are you thinking, right? Because there have been some council members, right, who have gone to personal feelings rather than what the community wants.
Well, let me add this. This is I just thought of this. It might not be for this committee, but we should host a roundtable with the council persons, the people running.
So we just
That's what-
we can't do
We
that.
just got guidance from the
Oh, we're not allowed to do
Conflict
that?
Interest Board because we were asked to co-sponsor or co-host a mayoral forum, and we are precluded as a community board to participate in anything political.
Oh, really?
In our official capacity, the board cannot.
Oh,
Now, if we watch something that we go and watch something going on happening, that's what, but in the writing.
We can't host
oh, but we
anything.
can't host
We're
it.
not connected
Okay, I didn't know
host, so
that.
we cannot
Alright.
co-sponsor now.
Trash that idea.
And so
Strike that.
Yeah,
Wow.
strike that one.
that's my understanding. We got.
Yeah, it makes sense.
And maybe we bring all the, and then,
Well, we can encourage housing groups to invite to do stuff like this on their own, and we can go attend those conversations.
Who's the
Say,
biggest CBO out here?
Who's,
in this
I'm sorry.
district? Who's the biggest community-based organization?
There's a lot of groups like North Carolina, South Bronx Unite.
Who's the biggest?
Um,
From your experience, the most well-known, I should say. Put me on the spot.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of organizations that are experiencing a lot of tension lately. They're getting smaller because of funding, but I think that there is a plan. The understanding that a lot of these organizations, like you have, along with a bunch of other housing advocacy organizations, may be sponsoring something with these candidates. Talk about some of these community-based advocacy organizations, housing developers too, like Los Canamos is maybe, and South Bronx United is going to be doing something with the mayor soon. At Hostels College, I understand there's a lot of conversations happening with a lot of different places. I think that as private citizens, we should try to get our questions in and engage to learn more about everyone's thoughts, positions. Yeah, let's try to find a good safe word.
I think it's
Right.
important.
Good.
And then the other thing,
So as I understand is the training, one training is about developer. Did we also want HPD reach out to us recently about code enforcement, the code enforcement agency, because HPD is responsible for giving violations to heat, hot water, like, and other problems that, they're run by Deputy Commissioner Emery Santiago. And
she's very good.
She's good, and she's been in HPD for life, and what she wants to
Yeah, she's not commissioner.
she's a deputy, but what she wants to do is she wants
She's very
to
good though.
she wants to come and her
Very
team to give a training so we understand code enforcement, because a part of our role as a community board, Steve and I, all day and our team is try to make sure when people have heat and hot water complaints, some people don't know what to do. You have seniors who come in and wheelchairs who come, and then we have to large out people on complaints and help them understand the difference between that all the violations are classified A, B, and C, and then what that means, what is more egregious, what is more, so all that. So it's important for you guys to understand that, because as we look at developers, you want to also learn about how the developers come in who have had a history of building housing, but have done a poor job at taking care of it. So understanding, being prepared as board members to say, good that you're here, because we see your name, you have, and your other buildings have had this and that going on. So instead of us site visiting these sites, a lot of this stuff is available online on previous sites to look at how conditions have contributed to them not want to build another thing going on in the city again. But unfortunately, sometimes the process allows them to, under different names, different entity, be partners in building a lot of new housing that may come before us. So it's important for us to be educated to understand what those things mean, what the code violation means, how quickly are we getting as a city working to hold landlords accountable to fix these issues. Because are we interested in code enforcement training?
How about we gather a list of the possible trainers instead of us coming up and saying, "Oh, let's invite this person."
I like that idea. Maybe get a list of what they have available or what departments would come, and then we can determine. I mean, I think all training is good, right?
Yes.
Because the more you learn, the more you understand, right? It's good. There's always,
as our position.
right.
So definitely get a list of trainings.
That's a good one, though.
All right,
Yeah.
so
That's a big
get a
part of
list
it.
of
Get
trainings.
a list of trainings, and then we can make that
You gonna get that,
decision.
Paul?
Sure, because they already reached out to us at recent in your
Yeah.
emails.
Okay, so we get a list of that.
I'll code it. I can get you
And the
additional
trainings are
trainings.
just for the committee members, or do we make the trainings that we invite the
We
public?
could
I
invite,
mean-
Because I like the,
we
It's
could
up to
do
you
a
guys.
workshop, like if when we learn it, we could invite the public as well.
And our
we
trainings
could
are
promote
all
it.
on YouTube.
Oh, this is true too.
So
That's
we have
true.
we need a list of the trainings. a list of
Some
all
trainings
the
are not. Some
businesses.
trainings are not there. Like there is no training available for the development track of affordable housing. You guys could put an idea in our heads. We're gonna put an idea in APD's head. Said we want to know when somebody comes with a piece of property,
Yeah.
how that, what, and they say want financing. What are the different finances mean? Making it as plain language as possible for the general public and for members to understand. What are the conditions around the different type of financing? What are the and what are the requirements that HPD has? And is there a way for
The taxes.
more requirements? When does it go to a council member? What is it? What's their role
I think
in
it's
it?
important.
What's the role of the? I like that idea of saying because all you hear is this. You want to know basically what I heard. I don't know who brought it up. You just want to hear how do y'all get here? I mean, you come to us now at the end, and we're advisory. Maybe we can get early on in the process when we set the
Together.
standard, so we can understand. We want HPD to put more regional aid at 421 tax. I don't know if that's still even in existence anymore. Tax credit buildings, which means deeper affordability instead of supportive housing. So there's a whole lot of ideas, and so those two trainings I think are important. But if other things you have in mind, say yo, I want to know housing lottery. I think I talked to Ted about it. I think he cringed. Sorry, Ted. He cringed about it because that's a big thing, and you're not the only person. Being on a list for 15 years is
I've been there since
a lot
15 years.
to deal with.
How long? I've been up for it.
And then when you do call your name, something changed in your life, and then you become ineligible because you're making more money or something else is going on.
Right. So the list of trainings.
So 3.
So we need list of training.
But I'm talking about just bring up more ideas. What
Oh,
are some more
yeah.
things now? Do you have something now that you
No, that was
about?
one.
So housing lottery, development, code enforcement.
Have you heard that before?
Yeah, that's someone that's
Testing something?
no, somebody fell out or somebody came in from needing.
Trauma.
Trauma.
Unit.
They're getting their staff ready to.
So
So
that's a survey.
So we kind of talked about the businesses, right, and doing something more out in the community. The trainings. I'd like to throw out even just, getting more participation. The more people that are involved, it's like you just said, Stephanie, you got involved because, right, you don't.
What happened to my neighborhood?
Yeah. And I think getting people involved to show the residents that we're really working for them, right?
And I always
How do we?
to my neighbors?
Yeah, I mean, I let my TA leaders that, for the buildings that we manage, I let them know about these meetings. I'm going to encourage them. I usually tell them to go to the general board meetings to learn about that, but maybe it makes sense to maybe have a list of all the different committees that we can say we can hand out or invite some of the TA leaders.
Stephanie have a great. She's working on a great flyer that's gonna.
Oh, you're doing that already? Oh, I didn't know that. Perfect.
Yeah, I'm working on flyers.
Oh, good. Okay, great.
Sorry, I broke this spot.
No. I think it's wonderful.
No,
No.
anytime you want to do a flyer, you can let me know.
I appreciate that.
Let me know, and I'll definitely work on it.
Thank you. And then, talking amongst ourselves with the other committees, which I think there are a lot of cross collaboration,
No,
right? So like
definitely.
you are here. I know some of the other committee members that are not here are, on other committees. I think all of that is important because there's got to be some synergy there, right? That we're all talking about the same thing and that we're all affecting each other. We're all going through it.
Everything plays out. I can't wait for everything to merge so that way we can have more people at the table. So we seem to be merging.
I think that makes sense too, because it's hard,
Yeah, I want to be in everybody's meeting because it's so,
It's interesting.
It's interesting. We can do a lot, but it's hard to be in 10 meetings in one room. So if we at least do 5, put it down to 5, that would be great. Because then we could, it'll be more people at the table and more heads to, think about stuff that we can do.
And, I'll just say and encourage our fellow committee members that, if you're going to be a committee member, it's a commitment.
Right.
right? And if that's the commitment, it's, once a month for 9 months, off in the summers,
Mhm.
right? And, really, because the
Yeah.
more voices we hear,
Right.
you have your idea, I come from my perspective,
Mhm.
you come from yours, you come from
We
yours.
could all.
That's the important part, is that, because I may miss something,
Right.
like you said, I like going to the store,
Yeah.
sometimes I don't go, I mean, that's,
Yeah.
Right.
that hits you, that hit me anyway, that's like really, that's real, it's just a real feeling,
Yeah.
something that you're really doing.
Mhm. That's exactly why I joined, because you can't do nothing in my neighborhood right now. Now go to the park, which is legit right across the street. Now go to the corner store to see
Did
how.
you go to that park when you were younger?
The park, yep. I used to
Which
go to
park?
that park. It's Fountain of Youth.
Oh, where is that?
It's on 150th between Tinton and Union, and 152nd. It's like
I
it's
think I know where that
legit. It's like I can't explain it, but yeah, it's in that area. I used to sneak to that park because it was a little farther from my house.
Yeah.
So since 52, I'm not sure.
It's
if
all
you
her
know.
fault, Eric.
Yeah, it was 52. I used to go to 52, but at that time, which is the park on Fox, on Fox,
Yeah.
and that park, which Salamanca now changed it to Aquinas. He changed the name to it. But when he does his salsa, I'm not sure if you're familiar. Like when he
Oh,
does
I know,
it,
I've heard of it, yeah, I
used to
haven't
go
gone
to
there.
that park faithfully, but then it was at that time it was bad. It wasn't good, so my father never used to like us go, so we used to sneak all the way to where I'm at now. So that's when I started seeing the changes. Because one, my father now he has 2 kids at 67, so you would think it's convenient for him to just go across the street, but he
You
can't
can't do it.
because there's so many syringes, so
Oh,
many
well, that's
drugs
what-
getting done in
We
there.
took over Betances in 2019. And literally, I had to get the staff training immediately. I joined the Parks Commission. They got upset with me because I was not in favor of putting the needle disposal,
Mm.
because it's just like encouraging
No,
them to hang out in that park then, right across.
Yeah, they shouldn't
And they
even
were
be
all
there.
over our property. I had to go buy special gloves and the special
Hazardous
things
material
that,
training.
have everybody learn that. It's changed though. It's not as bad, not on our property, because it was on our property.
Right.
It's not on the property anymore. But that park too, it's like, it's a
Yeah,
mess.
Anthony, I had to make a 6-month complaint just for them to close the park at the time that they were supposed to close it.
I believe you.
Just so that they could stop hanging out in there.
Yeah, well,
And they could stop.
they
doing
almost took me off the committee because they did not like the fact that I was not supportive of,
There
I'm
shouldn't
like,
be
where
anything
about the
that's
kids?
not-
What about like kids? Shouldn't they be able to play in the park?
Yeah.
Like, did we do everything?
Right.
You
No.
know?
That's insane. Yeah.
So to bring it back full circle, let me ask again, can we get a list of, or a defined boundary of what the business improvement district
I'll
is?
send it today.
Oh.
Yeah, I'll send it to
That's
you.
good, yeah.
It's also available on the website. I'll send
Oh, it
to
is?
you. Yeah, but
No, but we should get that. That's a
Yeah,
good
no,
point.
yeah.
Yeah.
And then,
The list of that's the list of all the businesses you asked.
yeah, yeah.
And
Of
only in the
of-
Third Avenue bid.
yeah, I
Oh,
mean,
this right here.
Only in the
we
Third
can
Avenue
go
bid.
further.
No, yeah, this right now it could be our main.
Yeah, I think
Point
we
right
should
now.
concentrate.
Because this
I
is where
think we
people should
should-
invite people to come. and
Yeah, I
actually
think we
bring
have to
their
concentrate on
business.
one, because if we do too much, we're not gonna do anything. I think
We
if
can
we can
start off
accomplish
with
one,
one.
then we move on.
Okay.
And then
You don't like that
Do
idea?
an outline.
No,
No.
Yeah,
Do
no, I
an
was just saying,
outline.
because the district, I'm sorry to you, the
Mhm.
district is bigger to me. The
It
like,
is.
No,
Like, it should at least go to
Yes, but
156th Street, at least.
Oh, yes, yes, yes.
And then it should also extend west on 149th, like if you're going toward Manhattan, at least up into Cortland Avenue, because that's where the KFC is at, and the banks are
Yes.
there, and
I
you
think
know.
he's right about that though.
but
I like that
but
idea.
that's
As
but that's
far as
not
we
the
could go.
That's not the bid
the
though.
official boundary.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm saying.
I mean,
Well, we
I
can
feel
start
like
with the
community
bid
is our
first.
community. Like it's a domino effect at the end of the day. What happens there is gonna come down.
I mean, then that's up to us. Do we also reach out to them and give them the survey, or do we just keep it to the bid?
I
As
think
we
we gotta
start
start,
moving,
yeah, I think,
it depends how many people join in this planning. Because if the more the people were, we could cut it up into pieces, and we could touch everything.
I mean, we just need people to go out and people
That's
on the
the
ground.
thing.
That's
Now,
it.
well, but
The
if we
next
have the
meeting-
interns and things you said, maybe we have that. We have
Well, it depends how
wherewithal.
we're gonna do it. Are we gonna do like long engagement and say, hey, we're here. Are we gonna talk a lot, or are we just gonna say this is who we are? Here's the survey. Fill this out. We're just trying to get a little interest on a little engagement on what your problems are.
So we can design a skit so that people don't feel like you are
Right, there you go. You said it even better.
too official and too and also that people don't devour or give out very personal information. Nobody gonna
Yeah.
who's the owner? What you have a license, and making people feel
No, we're not doing that.
intimidated.
Right.
Versus we want to be collaborative and building, because we're trying to not like you all are alluding to. You want to build numbers and to be able to get results, to be able to get some stuff accomplished that's going to be long term.
So who's gonna create the skit?
So I could develop a skit and share with you guys, because it's your stuff. So you guys all have to agree with it. My job is to be that referee,
Facilitator,
keep
yeah.
you in the boundaries and say we shouldn't say that, we shouldn't say that, and then you guys should design the questions. So you should set a deadline for yourself. What are the questions for the that you want to learn, and this is what kind of information you want to learn, and share with your chair and the vice chair, so that these questions get to us and the staff, so that we can create a Google Doc or that with a QR code that could be easy for businesses. I get what you're saying, that we should and then we should set deadlines for each of the things we're trying to accomplish. So first is the skit and the questions.
That's number one.
If you want to get back to Paola and y'all work on a deadline, Susan, then
Yeah,
then
I'll reach out to her.
We can share with the committee saying this is the deadline. Get your questions to the board office by this date, and then we'll simplify the questions. We get 20 questions. We're gonna say we think maybe 10 are good, or 11. I don't know, whatever magic number.
That's why I said that if
Really
everybody
weird.
has like 11 good questions, we could cut them up into 3 surveys.
So you
Or
got,
2 surveys.
yeah, Anthony, you and Stephen, you could send out to all the committee members, right? Well, that's who's going to develop the questions,
Yeah.
Yeah.
right?
Mhm.
Okay.
We could
So
do
the
I like
something.
committee-
that. And then we should have those all done before our next meeting.
Our next meeting.
Do we extend it just to the committee members or to the whole board?
Yeah, no,
I
everybody.
think,
The committee members?
I think just, I
The
don't know.
committee members.
I think
for
the
now?
committee
I think the
members.
committee
Just to
members
keep
should
it, just to
develop
keep
it.
it.
Yes,
all
because if
in-
we get,
This is work of the committee.
Yes,
Yeah.
this is
Yeah.
the committee, so we do.
we could always.
The more questions, the better, though. We can weed
No,
out.
I
Definitely
know,
gonna
but I
have
thi-
questions, and it's 9 of us.
Yeah, there's 9 people. If you're gonna get 30 or 40 people giving you questions, you'll never get out of the question mode.
Yeah, no, definitely.
I think it should definitely be committee first, and then whatever
Mhm.
findings you do come about from it, then you can present it to the board to ask the board members from there to participate
Yeah,
with
they might have
additional.
Okay.
To
You
build
know,
upon.
you
Some
bring
of
up another good
executive
point.
meeting.
I wonder, yeah, I'm sure the executive board would have to authorize
No.
us.
No, no, no.
Oh, we
nothing.
can-
Your committee passes whatever it was, as long as you're operating within the boundaries of your committee.
Oh, so we can decide on the survey
Mhm.
and then send the survey out?
Mhm.
Oh, thank you.
The
I didn't know
chair,
that.
we keep the chairperson,
Oh, this
we keep
is-
the chairperson in the loop,
Ooh.
the full board, but
Yeah.
it's saying this is what.
So
is the
this
work
could
of our
happen pretty
committee.
quick then.
Yeah,
Oh, I love it. Okay.
Those get the committee.
because it would be
to-
us.
So
We
can
get the
we,
questions.
in line with what Michael was just saying, so can we authorize you to send out an email, or should we,
We
the
say-
questions
we have a
to
request
to
for
all the
questions.
committee members?
Yeah, this is what you want to
Form?
probably discuss with Paula.
First, I'll talk to Paula.
and then-
Okay, I'll
and then
email
you say,
her.
hey, then Paula will say, hey,
She-
guys.
And
we
then
on
she'll
this,
go to you. Okay,
and say, these are, send out a request to all the committee members,
got
develop
it.
a list
I'll-
of questions that's gonna be used in a survey that will be able to determine certain, what are we trying to learn from the?
Yeah, let's
we're
get
trying
that
to learn
down.
from
What are we
business.
trying to learn from the
What are we trying to
survey?
learn from the survey? So the survey, I guess you're trying to
The
learn
challenges,
type of businesses, the challenges, whether it's staffing
whether
or
they have
finances.
recycling, and though they should have that, right?
whatever the issues are.
Whatever,
Give
we-
examples.
let them tell
Let them
us.
tell us.
Let them tell us. I'd keep it broad so that you get,
Oh, you want to keep it broad? Okay. I was
I-
thinking
I
more.
was thinking about having like at least 5 to 10 questions.
Well, we could do a mix then.
yeah,
Mix.
you can have a
Have,
mix.
At the bottom, like
Because
any
if
other
we,
issues.
you don't wanna, like what they say, you don't wanna lead the witness.
Right.
Like, I want them to tell us, maybe we're not even thinking of something that's happening,
Mhm, mhm.
right? Because say we know about the loss the loss issues.
What was your issue?
But
What
maybe
was
they have
your-
other things that we don't even know.
Yeah, what was your biggest issue in the last 5 years? Was it? And then they could say staffing, they could say loss prevention, they could say space is too big, the rent's too damn high, whatever it is
Rent's
that.
too high.
Yeah.
Okay.
I like
Yeah.
that.
Not being able to
Money
find
because-
product, maybe not able to get not getting enough. The supply chain sucks.
Right.
or they don't have security, or they have to
Right,
spend more
right.
money on security, or my prices could be lower if we didn't have to have
Because
this.
CC is a great place, but they always have a big mess. in
Is that
front
still
of it.
open?
CC right there on Third Avenue.
149?
On 149. Yeah, there's always that's where the pizzeria is at.
Oh,
It's always big garbage. And right there on the corner of the check cashing place.
They're gonna say it was not contributed to them. They're gonna say there's some people hanging out on that in that area.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but as a
And it's the bus stop too there too.
Yeah.
So they
Right,
Yeah.
so then that's when we gotta ask for more garbage cans. And then, et cetera, et cetera.
that may
or
be,
make more pickups, just
Right.
like Anthony said before.
and that may be a thing too, that because I believe that that we should that maybe something Session's gonna be doing is talk about sanitation is not only the sanitation part of this, but it's part of education too. So it's telling people. I had this creative idea. I don't know if I saw it on TV somewhere, so I dreamed it. That if you put up these little, you see these little signs that are on the light poles that you walk down the street. Those signs talks about the hospital, talks about hostels. So you get whatever it advertises different businesses. Is that we should use signs like that, kind of like street signs about no parking and stuff.
Mhm.
Hold that garbage in your pocket for 5 more steps, or
I
three
love that.
three more steps to the
the
nearest
garbage.
garbage can. And you see pictures of feet on the floor. People are walking, and kids becoming more encouraged because it looks like a real education thing. Parents see it. It's in different languages, and it contributes to people using the receptacles
It's about
that are there.
education.
Well, I brought that
No,
up
and
to,
also the
to
garbage
our committee.
can.
I've said that before, actually. That about creating at least
Education campaign.
right either throughout the day, each day, like you go to a class and we talk about it, or we could come up with like a skit, like an assembly. Like you bring the kids into the auditorium, you have like a little theater production of garbage education, and because that's where it starts with the kids.
You could do kind of like you could do a Sesame Street kind of thing, or Oscar the Grinch. You could talk about I don't know. Somebody, I don't know.
That's so funny.
That is funny.
That's what even a tournament, like we were talking about, like the tournament. It could be like a tournament cleanup after,
Yeah.
cleanup before the tournament. I don't know. But it is something that we could definitely do as community engagement.
So survey
Survey.
questions
List of
first.
questions, yeah.
After we get the okay from the
Yes, after
leadership
Paola.
of you and Paola, and then you guys could get an email by
And then-
sometime next week, and you guys start
Yeah,
open the
And
questions.
the goal is to have it all kind of
So maybe we
done
could do
for
like
next
a.
for the next meeting.
for the next meeting.
Where could we
And I'm gonna bring the list of all the questions. Hey guys, these are all the questions. Now you gotta tell us this question should go in the survey, that question go to the survey. You're gonna get a lot of different questions, and then you guys choose what question goes
So by
into the
April,
survey.
we're out on the street.
Yeah,
Right.
that's
the
what my,
goal.
Even
that's, I
March,
think
our
that,
next meeting shouldn't even be here. It should be on the street. For
I
April,
think
if
we
it's
have to,
nice.
I think we have to,
Make a decision.
we have to make a decision though. We have to have all
You're
the
gonna-
questions.
you're
that
gonna-
are
you're
gonna
gonna
get-
get- you're gonna- if
Could be
nine
maybe
of you
towards
guys-
the end of March, if it's
Yeah.
nice out, because you
Yeah.
wanna
It's
make
nice
sure,
out,
yeah.
If 9 of you guys, if each of you guys get 5 questions, and then my math is bad, 9 I'm joking.
My
But
time's
it's
45.
45, you're gonna get 45 questions, but you're trying to break it down to 15 or 11
We're
questions.
gonna have a lot of the same questions. Like I'm more
It may
concerned
be.
about the city services aspect. Like, are you receiving? Are you happy with the city services?
And what are those services? Because some of the businesses they have to hire private
They
car.
have to get, yes.
Oh,
They
yeah.
don't, you don't get city services. Some people are pissed
It's
about the
more,
way things
How
are
do you
going.
feel in the hub? More.
100%. You see, that's where I'm more with you. Like, I
How
want
do you
to, I want to
feel in
understand
this
what do you
neighborhood?
feel like?
Is
I
the
would
drugs
love-
affecting your
Oh
establishment?
yeah. So,
Is
so let's. How do we feel? Then how do we break that down? Where it's
Yeah,
not,
it
it's
has
not,
to
'cause
be
that's
like a
open-ended, but that
catchy-
might be
Yes,
too
what you want to
open-ended.
be.
is it
No.
affecting the establishment?
Like, I would love to get like a Starbucks here to say,
It was.
can you tell us, like, how did you come to that? You made a decision to come here.
And then
Obviously, there's a lot of people, right? You
A lot
saw
of foot traffic.
the opportunity to make money
Mhm.
and
And you left.
you left.
And
What
a
I
lot
would
of people,
love
when I
to
was
know-
reading, a lot of people were complaining that there were no seats in Starbucks. But the main reason that they set it up like that was because of
The hanging out.
To
the
not
hanging
encourage,
out,
yeah.
I
and the
had-
homelessness,
I'm not gonna
and
mention the
drugs. And
development,
it
but
says it.
they called me today. They have tables set up, like if they have like a little courtyard, they want me to remove the tables. Because
Okay,
people are hanging out there smoking, they're doing drugs,
You're in
and
the
they-
market before the summer comes.
and they want the tables out. And you think about it, how, the table, you want people to congregate, like to engage
In
with
the
each
neighborhood.
other,
Mhm.
right, in your neighborhood, but it's bringing it's the wrong message.
Right.
Sad, it really is. Okay, we did,
Before you leave, just
Oh.
one more thing. So I
Yeah.
did something for coming new business. We did receive an email. Since this economic development, I'm assuming that's workforce development too. We did receive an email from an organization that specializes in workforce development training in the cannabis industry. We all know the state law.
That's another training that we have to-
allows the use of recreational marijuana, the sale of recreational marijuana, and dispensaries, and we're behind the drive to create a workforce from anywhere from seed to sale. So seed, people who are going to be growing it, harvesting it, and in certain places, and then sell or the destruction of it, because it has to be also, if you don't sell it, it has to be destroyed in a certain way so that it return back into the world. So we are gonna be having conversations with this organization that's gonna be talking about how do we create jobs, training free for our community to allow people to be able to experience going into that workforce. I'm not sure. So if those who are interested in it, please feel free to reach out to me to join that conversation. Not about the going into that workforce, but a conversation because it is a business, and so we want to make sure we get as much young people or people period who are 18 to be able to be engaged and involved in that training. And 21 if you want to be bud tenders selling it in the actual dispensary.
Bud tenders?
Okay, well, bud
bartenders.
tenders, yes. Or business. So FYI, just letting you guys know.
I'm gonna abstain from that conversation.
Okay. Just being transparent.
No.
Yeah, I really don't
And
agree
then,
with the weed
and then
dispensary.
there's gonna be a job fair tour very soon with that you want to talk about. That's happening at Dream. Gonna talk about looking at the facility very soon.
Right, we actually have to get it approved by you, right, or no? Let me ask
Yes, I have to
actually.
sign in and approve it.
So
and then,
Sanjay, so since we're gonna do the job fair in Dream, because we got it at no cost, we wanna take it there for our next meeting, so we could take a look at it, and, you know,
maybe you want to
pitch
start from the
ideas.
beginning. So the education and youth committees is doing a job fair
Doing a job fair.
for what the ages are
18, I believe, or 16.
16
Actually,
to
maybe
26.
16 to 26.
Right. on April.
On April 5th.
So that's, you're having it like a table set up, like
Yes,
from
we're
different
gonna
organizations?
invite organizations and agencies to come and basically table in. So what we're gonna do is, on the 6th, we're actually creating templates right now. The 6th, we have like a separate meeting. So on Thursday, which is, no, not tomorrow.
Tomorrow's
Thursday, yeah.
Thursday's the 6th.
Yeah,
February
Thursday, we actually created templates. Once we do the templates, we're gonna hand them out to basically organizations, basically jobs that's around this area or anywhere to see if they want to table. Once we get the RSVP, then we're gonna start creating the flyers, letting everybody know who's gonna be there, what time, you know, whether there's dress codes or not, and then we're actually gonna need help to basically, you know, coordinate everything the day of. Whether it's handing out clipboards, pencils, you know, anything that they may need at that time. So I'm doing the budget of everything, and I'm coming up with like little things that we could need, whether it's like tags saying that who we are, whether it's the clipboard, so everybody can have opportunity to write that to fill in the application.
Do you have a centralized like place for, like, if you say, like, I know we have jobs that we need, do you, as the committee, or do you have like a centralized place where you put out the resumes? Or like I can put a posting
Right.
to
So
say I can't wait till April 6th.
Oh yeah, so right now I have my page
mhm.
and my youth account page, and then there's the CB1 page. So
I'm
anything
gonna
that
get you
occurs,
I'm
yeah,
gonna get you a posting.
yeah, definitely. And we're gonna most likely print it. I also put in my little budget thing, they have like these, that's what I did, they have like these, wall suction slips and where you could put in information and it could be like on windows,
Oh,
also on the pantry. So hopefully, by March 1st, if we get the pantry, that'll be a way that we'll be promoting it.
great.
And so the board office.
I'm gonna send you the
Stephen,
information.
Yeah, send it to me.
add-
You have my email,
to
right?
add-
Do you?
Adding what
Yeah,
Stephanie's
what's that?
saying, Stephen and his
No.
team at work, we have a bulletin board in the board
Oh, you
office,
might know.
Susan,
Give me a number. Put your number there.
we have a bulletin board in the office that we continuously are broadcasting, job availabilities that, folks who come in looking for housing, and also look for, possible jobs.
You'll put my name in. So, just hang on.
You heard
Okay,
that, Susan?
I did.
Okay.
Yes.
So Stephen's
Well,
always.
again, I'm gonna
take
send it to
his,
Stephen, yeah,
Mhm.
because I have,
No.
it's not for this area, but I'm looking for people,
to do
because I've
things.
learned my lesson that you can't
Shopping.
yeah, you have to hire, you can't live.
Destination hires.
Yeah,
There-
you have to do that. Yeah, I just want to say thank you very much. Thank you to Anthony and to Stephen for facilitating this tonight. And thank you to my fellow committee members. I thought this was a really great conversation. And I appreciate you guys coming out tonight and discussing this. And I think we have a lot to tell Paola. And I think we have a great start.
Yes.
And if there's nothing else, I'm going to say, oh.
Meeting adjourned.
meeting is adjourned.
She's so delicate.
I will.
Thank you.